Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you thoughts and comments from your mayors and supervisors. Let's start off this week with John Moffett from Mendon. John, how's everything going in Mendon?
Great, Chris. Thank you for having us as always. I did want to just make one correction to something that I said last week. Was when I was talking about the county and town tax bills, and I was talking about any changes. I mentioned that if you had put an addition on or lost a exemption, it could change your rate, and that was a misstatement on my point. If you put an addition on your house or put up a shed or a swimming pool or something like that, it would have changed your assessment, not your rate. So I apologize for misspeaking last week. That's why I like to read the Sentinel. So now I can editorialize a little bit and possibly find something that I misspoke about. So we had our organizational meeting on Monday, the 11th. So that's kicking off the 2021 year as far as the town goes. Our public hearing for our comprehensive plan is scheduled for February 8th. That is at the community center at 7 o'clock. The solar farm on Quaker Meeting House Road is progressing. If you've been near it's basically across from the transportation department middle school, across from there on Quaker Meeting House Road. Several people have seen, there's been a lot of activity lately, so a lot of people have been asking questions about that, and that was approved several months ago. This time of year, it's a little slow on development type news, but obviously the former Marcus Park has been approved for a daycare facility. So I know they're working on getting that up and going, so that I imagine once COVID hopefully slows down a little bit for all of us, they can get moving on that. Due to the weather, and for me at least, I feel like I like this weather better than some Januaries. We've had our highway department painting the interior of Town Hall, and we're going to put down new carpeting that hasn't been done. Neither one of those have been accomplished in about 25 years. So we're going to be painting and putting down some new carpeting as long as the mild weather continues this winter, till they can get outside and do some more road projects in the spring. COVID information, I'd like to say that I have a crystal ball, but, I'm getting things basically the way everyone else is getting it, somewhat fragmented, changes from day to day. I know there's something set up. They're going to set up at the Dome Arena, which is probably the closest one to us in Monroe County. And I do know you need an appointment. As I understand it, the appointments are been filling up rather quickly. I'm not aware of how far out they're taking appointments, but I certainly encourage folks to take a look at that online if possible, to try to facilitate their shot. Also, as a lot of us have been taking part in various calls with the county supervisors in Monroe County and mayors in Monroe County, just trying to get as much information as possible, trying to get information out to individuals. But as I say, it's been a little bit tough to get good, accurate information that doesn't change the next day. So if the point comes where we have some good, accurate information that I feel won't change, we certainly will get that out to our residents. Again, thanks for having us, Chris.
Thank you, John. Rick, how's everything in Honeoye Falls?
Well, all in all, we're doing well. And thank you, Chris, again, as John said, for having us all together again. I'll echo a little bit of what John was just talking about. As far as the COVID vaccinations, I think the county executive has tried to be as clear as he can be, that we have more people signing up for vaccines than what are currently available. And that's going to be, it's a very fluid situation. It's going to continue to be fluid for some time. And as John said, that, every time we hear one thing today, we hear something a little bit different tomorrow. But this is not an easy situation to progress through. So, a lot of people are working real hard. The county has been also very actively looking for more volunteers and also hiring more people to help with the vaccination process. I believe I saw the United Way on yesterday, where they're actively getting involved in trying to get people signed up to either get hired or volunteer their time. I do know that one of our village trustees, Dan Harris, is very active and is in the trenches. He's actually working one of the pod sites, working with that group to help that process. So I applaud that. The other thing I'd mention along these lines is that I do know that you do not have to get your shot within your same county. I talked to a couple of people who actually are going to be in Syracuse this weekend. They said there were quite a few appointments available when they contacted one of the sites in Syracuse, and they were able to drive to Syracuse to get their shot. And they've got their appointments already scheduled. So obviously they're going to have to go back to Syracuse to get their second shot. But if you're, if you want the shot and you're not willing, and you're willing to drive, that might be an option as well. February 1st, on another subject, February 1st is our next public hearing for the Wolfsburger Park Housing Development Project. That continues to move forward. But again, February 1st at 7 o'clock, that will be a virtual public hearing, and that's duly noted in all the publications. Our village board meeting is this coming Tuesday instead of the normal Monday. Because of the Martin Luther King holiday, will be on Tuesday, January 19th, 7 p.m. Again, that's a virtual meeting. And I'm very happy to say that we actually did receive something I've talked about in past meetings. We did actually receive the $150,000 from the state for the Ontario Street storm sewer project, the line replacement. And I want to again thank Assemblywoman Burns and her team for the support. But that money has actually been received, so that was great. That's it from the village. And again, Chris, thanks very much for the opportunity.
All right, great, Rick. Todd, how are things in West Bloomfield?
Hi, things are great here in West Bloomfield. I wanted to update, I guess, a couple of things in regards to the school tax collection issue. I believe that we had about 11 folks that were impacted by that re-levy. The county, the school district, and the bank have reissued those particular tax bills to those folks. And it really was an issue with the bank getting the monies to the school district. The school district has been using one of the BOCES outfits for about 3 years, and they have now implemented an additional step in that process to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. I know that the town clerk and tax collector have already spoken to at least 9 of the individuals impacted, and everyone's kind of receiving those reissued bills for that school tax re-levy. So that should have been taken care of at this point in time. In regards to COVID within Ontario County, continues to be a testing site at the County Transportation Center on Tuesdays. That will continue at least through the end of January, potentially into February. We see, a continuous need for testing. The vaccine rollout has started. As a smaller county, I would echo some comments from other supervisors. We're frustrated with the number of doses that we're receiving from the state. We're giving them out as quickly as we get them, but getting only a couple hundred doses is not nearly enough. So we're looking forward to that process ramping up and the number of doses available to us in these more rural areas increasing over time, so that we can make sure that we get through the elderly folks, our first responders, et cetera, and then start to get into much more of the general population after we get through 1A and 1B. The registrations, et cetera, most everything is done online. And so if you can't get it done yourself or you don't have access, a lot of folks are using, friends and other family members to get themselves registered, et cetera, for signing up for those links or those testing sites, et cetera. Lots of information, not only off of the Ontario County Public Health site on their website, but then also the state in regards to the continued rollout of the vaccine. To Rick's point, you do have to go back a second time, so make sure that you're aware of that as you look at where you're making your appointment and your availability to go back for that second dose. As of right now, I'm aware that folks that have gotten that first vaccine, they're not currently scheduling that second vaccination date yet. Believe that will be probably about a week to a week and a half afterwards when they're calling you back or you're going back and making that second appointment. But it's something that people need to be aware of. I think we just need to keep reiterating it is two doses for all the vaccines at this point in time. So make sure you're kind of keeping yourself aware of that when you're looking at what you're doing and your process for that. In regards to the town, we approved the Highway 284 agreement, which is essentially the rollout of what the highway department's going to be working on for this coming calendar year. The primary projects are resurfacing a significant portion of Quaker Meeting House Road at its intersection with Route 65. That corner has historically been repaired by the state off of State Route 65 through their right-of-way onto Quaker Meeting House Road. A couple years ago, they stopped working all the way out to their right-of-way, so that corner we've been cold patching it, and this year it will be a more significant effort. And while we're doing that, we're going to go along and do, I believe, all of Bean Hill Road and widen it a little bit, not significantly, like a couple inches on each side. It's the shoulders have gotten a little torn up. And there will be some oil and stoning efforts on, I believe, Cox Road and Con Road. Kind of to John's comment, we have done, I believe, maybe 17 salt and plow runs through this winter season so far. Normally we're into the over 30. So the highway department has been working on a lot of other tasks, most recently working on overhanging tree removal. So kind of that constant process. Last year we had to remove a lot of ash and elm trees. And so we're kind of continuing that and getting rid of any significant overhanging trees, branches, et cetera. So we work in partnership with the town of East Bloomfield, who has a small bucket truck. And so that allows our highway department to do a lot of that work without having to go and sub it out. There will be some more significant sized tree removal that will actually use a third-party contractor over the summer, those that might be near power lines, et cetera, where it's not really safe for our guys to be working there. The county committee structure was reorganized a little bit, the Ontario County Committee structure. This year, we have a new vice chair for the county. Chris Singer from Canadice is going to be the vice chair for Board of Supervisors. Bob Green from Bristol had been the vice chair for a couple of years. Chris Singer's last year on the County Board of Supervisors in the town of Canadice will be this year. She's been supervisor for about 21 years or so. And so it's a recognition of her time served and trying to take advantage of her expertise and knowledge in her last year before she formally retires. And for this year, I will be serving on Public Safety and the Ways and Means Committee. And we will be continuing our efforts with the Campbell Commission in regards to looking at our overall jail population and impacts on mental health for our residents. And our police reform initiative is moving forward. Worked with the sheriff last week on getting his proposal that needs to come to the full Board of Supervisors before it goes back to the governor's office in April. That's it for me for now. Thank you.
All right, great, Todd. Thanks. Eileen, how's everything in Scottsville?
Thank you. Scottsville's doing well. Our DPW is back working and everything's on schedule again. We are selling the old garbage truck. If you may know, we got a new garbage truck this year, and so that they've been cleaning up the old one, and Auction International will be listing our old garbage truck for sale. Our board meeting was held this past Tuesday. We passed 2 local laws. We basically amended 2 local laws, which will now put 5 members on both our planning board and zoning boards. And that makes it a little easier in recruiting people to be on those boards. We also set up public hearings for February 9th, our next board meeting. The first one to override the tax cap, which is something we do each year as a precaution. And then to release monies already in our general equipment reserve to purchase a chainsaw, not to exceed $1,400 for the DPW. We also set our budget workshop dates in March 16th and 30th. If it happened, we're already working on our budget, so if we can move those dates up, we will. We also looked at some of our village policies. We redid them about a year or so ago, and now we're trying each year to review a certain number of the policies at each board meeting. So we did that. And I also got an email from the Small Business Association about grants with the monies that were allocated in the federal government during COVID for small businesses. And we posted that on our website and our Facebook page so that any small businesses in our village, please take a look at that, attend the webinar, and see if there's something you want to apply for. When it comes to COVID, I just want to make sure that all residents know in the village of Scottsville that you can now get the vaccine if you are 65 and older. You can go to monroecounty.gov, or you can go to the state to see if you're eligible. There's a portal there. As everybody has said, they sign up quickly. I know I went and registered my eligibility, and then I called one of my local pharmacies, and they hadn't received any yet. They said, call back. I called back the next day, and they were booked. So keep an eye on everything, sign up. But this is one thing I also found out. If you're part of the U of R medical practices and you go on my chart is doing a vaccine update. And it's basically said that if you are in that group, if your doctor is part of that medical group, they will be contacting you in a randomized order, doing it randomly. So that's another way that you may be called, that you have been selected to get an appointment for your vaccine. So that's just another thing that you should be aware of, as well as keeping track of when doses are available throughout the county. And that's about it for Scottsville today.
All right, great. Thanks, Eileen. Next up, Mike Falk, Lima Supervisor. What's cooking in Lima?
Well, what's cooking in Lima, you're going to hear in the background behind me, because the construction is fast and furious here at the town hall. They are moving steam lines and creating the balance of the shaft so that on Tuesday, the elevator can actually be brought in and assembled inside the elevator shaft. Very exciting. It'll be nice to see that project kind of start to gel up, and then over the next month, finish up so that we actually have a real elevator. Also going on here in Lima, the Milk and Honey Cafe is going to be locating in the former pizza shop next to Reality Designs here on Main Street. A GoFundMe page has been started, and they're looking for just a little bit of help with the startup costs. Some of the businesses in town have gotten some assistance from the county through different programs and such. This one is not the case. So if a coffee house with baked goods is something that you would like to see, Milk and Honey Cafe on GoFundMe, and go from there. Our Agricultural Advisory Board is going to be meeting at 7 p.m. this Wednesday here at the Town Hall, and they're going to be discussing the open Article 250 hearing that the Town Board initiated regarding some changes to agribusiness definitions and some zoning things out in the ag districts. Again, bring your mask, and the public is welcome to the meeting. Livingston County is once again going to be sponsoring its youth awards. The County Teen Recognition Awards, we are accepting applications. All nominations for exceptional youth are due by February 5th. For forms and instructions, livingstoncounty.us/youth.htm, or just give the Youth Bureau a call at 243-6909. That's 243-6909. The sales tax numbers were published by NISAC this past week, and all of us got a look at what our counties did. Livingston County, as it turns out, was up 2.3% on the year, even though we started off strong and then faded and then came back and faded again. At the end of the year, we actually did okay. I can see too on the list, Monroe was down 2.8% and Ontario was down 3.1%. As far as COVID goes, Livingston County, in addition to Noyes Hospital and the Tri-County Medicine Group, are all receiving doses of vaccine. It is not many. If you are in the eligible categories of 1A or 1B, keep calling. When you get your appointment, please keep it. Please do not show up, because again, in most of those circumstances, the vaccine has to be tossed out if it is not used that day, because a lot of it has to be kept frozen. We don't want to be throwing out the doses when people really want them. The Livingston County website through the Department of Health has all the sign-up information. And again, just keep trying. Eventually, you will get matched up with a dose and you'll get through the system. And that's all I've got, Chris.
All right. Thank you all once again. Anybody else have any last minute things they may have forgotten? No? All right. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Again, we're here every Sunday at 1 o'clock on Facebook or YouTube, whatever your preference is. We'll be seeing you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Take care.